Creativity is one of the biggest challenges in the workforce at the moment. Over the last couple of years, I've sat down with a lot of CEOs and organizations to talk about creativity in the workforce. And one of the big challenges we have when we try and create a more creative environment or more creative team or help individuals find their creative buzz again is we have a culture where it can sometimes be a bad thing to create and innovate and think outside the box. Often companies punish their staff and people in their organizations for being creative. A lot of companies, a lot of managers out there like the staff to just follow the set guidelines and stay on the straight and narrow. But if we're going to be a company which innovates and if we're going to help people out there go to that next level where ideas can spread, then we have to give people the freedom to create. And failure is part of the process. And as much as companies ask me to put together a program to help their staff to be creative, most of the work we've done is on the management side. How can we help management understand that creativity and failure are one? And sometimes you're going to have to burn through some money, some capital. Sometimes things aren't going to work out, but you've got to be able to give it a go, have a crack. And we have to create a culture where failure and creativity and trying new things and innovating is something that everyone in the team can do and be a part of. There's so much creativity in the workforce. There's no company I've been to or organization where creativity doesn't exist. People have ideas. They have new ways of thinking. They all have their own individual and unique ideas of how to do things. But when we stop allowing the people in our team to express themselves, when they feel they'll be punished or they won't be supported when they come up with a new idea, then we end up with a culture which doesn't allow creativity to be a part of the company. Culture is the biggest challenge really we have when it comes to creativity. If we can fix the culture within a company, if we can make innovation more important than profit in some circumstances, then we can really start to move the game forward. As for creating a more creative mindset and allowing people to be more free on an entrepreneurial level, that's an individual issue as well. And a lot of people today simply don't have that ability. We're seeing that with students today. We're seeing that with a lot of people in organizations where they don't have that ability to create. They don't have new ideas sometimes, and they're not able to just go out there and try new things. So we still have to work very hard to cultivate that culture within the individual. But for the most part, we're looking at a real issue on an organizational level. And if we can tackle that, then we'll have a chance of creating companies which can innovate and most probably be able to beat some of the downturn in the economy over the next decade. And with a slowing economy, you need to be ahead of the curve. You need to be able to innovate. Your company needs to be light on its feet. You may have to create small pockets of creative teams who can go out there and do great work and allow the company to prosper while everyone else in the team does what they normally do. We really need to take a fresh look at how we treat the modern working space. At the moment, we have an environment where there's a lot of co-working space, a lot of open office style environments, and our research and our data at the moment is pointing towards that creating more damage when it comes to well-being, productivity and performance. And look, that's likely to happen. Anytime an individual is not able to work quietly by themselves and create an environment of focus and deep thought, they're not going to be able to perform at their highest level. Community and being part of a campus environment has been a trend for a while now. We see that with Google, Facebook, and a lot of companies, especially in the tech space, but that's moving across to professional services, moving across to a lot of more creative spaces. We've really got to manage and look at how we treat the open office and the co-working space and how that impacts the individual. If we're talking strictly about productivity, we're talking strictly about well-being, which are heavily tied together, and performance, then we need to put individuals and teams in environments where they're able to thrive. If the outcome is to be more productive, get more done, while being able to enjoy their time at work and being able to have that work-life balance, which is something a lot of companies are now coming to us to redefine what that means. We've really got to start to look at how people perform. Everyone's different. Some people love the open office. Some people love the open spaces and being able to connect and communicate and throw ideas out there. But generally speaking, our data is saying that most people would like a bit more time to sit down and focus on their task and find that level of creativity, which is often missing. And creativity, really, when you're talking about high-level creativity, only comes from one, spending time with himself in the right environment and being able to really get into a place of deep thought where they can pull out the ideas and map them out. From there, then you can take that to the boardroom, you can take that to a more open space and really work on those ideas. One of the things we're looking to discuss and create a topic around over the next decade is the open working space a good idea? And we're in talks with a lot of CEOs at the moment who are 50-50 on the idea. It sounds great from a cost perspective, it sounds great from a saving money perspective. It's financially the right decision because you'll limit the amount of floor space you need. And I think that's something a lot of companies are looking at, cutting costs and making an environment more affordable for a company to participate in. What we'd like to see is companies moving towards a model where they're more concerned about the overall well-being of the team or individual, but very much tied to the performance of them and their ability to really shine. And I don't think you're ever going to get that in a cubicle sort of style of office, and you may not at this point likely get that from the open co-working office style environment. So that's most probably something to look at over the next decade. And I think if you're going to a company and you're looking for a new style of environment to work in, if you're looking for a new career or a new company to work at, it's important to really have a think about the style of office and space they have and whether that suits you as an individual and whether you can perform and function at your highest level. And have those discussions. I think it's important to have those discussions with your boss and colleagues and make sure you're very aware. Don't just be pigeonholed into a system which may or may not suit you or your team.